All right. So the thing I want to talk about today is stupid but fun. So this is the Code Golf area of Stack Exchange. So essentially, the reason I haven't spent a ton of time talking about this is that it's not actually good coding practice, but because you're getting to the end of an intro coding class, it is hella fun to look at other languages, right? So it just so happens that on the featured, backing up. The way Code Golf works is somebody will post a challenge, right? So here's this person explaining that the challenge here is to make a program that outputs the phrase "Hello World" with a comma and an exclamation point, right? And the way Code Golf goes, they've got this whole rule set that the person who made the challenge has set up, right? And then people are going to answer this attempting to make the shortest possible program that does that. And the way they're going to answer here, because the person asking this instructed them to, is they're going to say, okay, this language is whatever. So for us, we might say processing, and then we might say however many bytes this would take in processing. So before I go look at answers, I can do this in processing pretty fast, or we could go to, what was that thing? It was Repel IT, right? So let me see how fast I can, or how many bytes I can do this in Python, right? So in Python, how would you print out hello world? You do print. Why am I not typing? Right here, typing. Why is there not typing? P, print. And then...
You're in 3, so you just see quotes, what you want to say.
In quotes. And I want to say, hello world, exclamation point, quote. Is that going to work? It's fine.
There's an error, so it's not.
There's an error, so
Probably
it's not fine because it's Python 3, so it needs parentheses.
I'm writing Python 3 on a Raspberry Pi, and I haven't needed any parentheses.
I think you've been writing Python 2 on your Raspberry
It
Pi.
only says 3. Something's lying.
Something's lied to you. Oops.
Hello.
So-
Hello, world.
I'm running it from this shell.
Yeah, in the shell you can just type in a string in parentheses and hit enter, and it'll spit that back out at you.
But I'm running the code through the shell, so I'm thinking maybe it's running. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I think I have this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 bytes. Right? So my Python code is 22 bytes, and I don't see an obvious way to improve on this without either not meeting the check. Actually, we could try one thing. So that would cut me to 20 bytes, but it doesn't work, right? Because hello world's not a variable name, so it's like, yo, dude, what are you trying to do? So I think 22 bytes is the best I can get in Python. 3 at least. In Python 2, I'd be able to get away without the parens, so I'd be 20 bytes in Python 2. So now if I go back and look at the Code Golf responses here, make this that readable still. Okay, hilariously, the language stuck, whatever the heck that is. An empty program will just output hello world.
Genius.
So stuck is clearly the right language for this code challenge, right? Is it the right language for all Code Golf challenges?
Oh man, brain fuck.
Definitely not. Yeah, okay, so here's a so here's a program written in a language called Brainfuck, which for obvious reasons is called that. So if you look at what this is claiming to do, it's like, okay, so the first 28 bytes, like all this stuff, initialize the tape. What the hell's a tape? Like what is a tape?
Well, like for typewriters or something?
Yeah, it's kind of an analogy to a typewriter. So this program works this program language does something that's essentially analogous to a typewriter reel, right? So it goes forwards and backwards, kind of like an old magnetic tape. So I have no idea what's happening here, right? But they're talking about things that we can recognize from class at least, right? They've got like, what's this junk? You see that thing? Math. Yeah. There's some math. Specifically, there's some like modulo arithmetic down in here, right? And then they're like decrementing something. You see that? And like basically I have no idea what's going on, but cool. And then he's got a whole bunch of detail. Basically, he's trying to earn points by very carefully explaining what his program is doing. And the way this thing works is you can give some points to this guy by upvoting this answer. Right? Like, I think this is probably a pretty useful explanation of the way brainfuck works, so I'm going to give him an upvote. Right? This stuck thing is clearly hilarious, so I'm upvoting that. And then if I go down, there's like, okay, so this is supposedly a PHP solution. What's PHP? PHP is a web scripting language. So this is kind of usually embedded in an HTML file, which is kind of entertaining here. In fact, if you read these answers, this is like, people think this is kind of funny because this is not itself natively PHP, right? It's just that if you run plain text in a PHP compiler, it'll just output it as though it were written in HTML. Right, so that's this guy that's saying that's just an HTML answer. But I'm kind of with the other people, like, this is also a PHP answer. So if we scroll down a little bit, we'll find someplace down here there's a PHP answer. Where the heck is... I was really hoping to see the HTML answer. It's down here someplace. These things move around a little bit. HTML. There's the same answer, right? As the PHP answer, but in HTML. The PHP one's almost cleverer. It's just more entertaining, at least. I do like that there are some very specifically strange coding languages in here. Arnold C is a good one. You guys see what that says? So
they have to print out it's showtime, talk to the hand every time they want to print a line.
I think it's showtime starts the program. Talk to the hand is how they print the line.
Yep, exactly. So in Arnold C, which is basically just C with different commands, right? It's showtime, begins a program. Talk to the hand is the analogy of print line, right? And then you have been terminated ends the program. Right, so I bet if we go look. Okay, yeah, so there's a GitHub for the Arnold C language, right? So, yeah, it looks like basically talk to the hand, right, is the print line command. It's showtime, starts the program. You've been terminated, stops it. You and I, you or me, is apparently the Operation Ann, which is the equality.
I love the all caps.
Yeah, the fact that it's all caps is really super fun. Oh yeah, and so if you're going to declare a method, you say, listen to me very carefully, and then put in the method name, and then put in whatever the method's going to do, and then hasta la vista, baby, terminates the method. That's beautiful.
Just in case your RLC isn't quite up to speed.
I have absolutely no idea what this program does. The above prints the numbers 1 to 10.
Get to the chopper.
I mean, chill is like end loop, maybe.
Enough talk, chill.
So enough talk probably stops.
Get to the chopper is less than 10.
Okay, so it looks like let off some steam. Bennett is probably an increment command. I don't quite. Okay, so hey, Christmas tree is probably a variable initializer. You set us up is sorry. This is a variable kind of declaration statement, and this is the initializer. Looks like this is probably a while loop and an end condition. I don't know what here's my invitation does, but you guys kind of with me on this language. This is one of the things about Code Golf. It's hilarious. The languages are super, super funny.
C is changing byte counts.
C, yeah, so this is somebody refining their, right? So this is my initial guess took 6,016 bytes, and then I was able to fix it down to 4,234 bytes, and then I was able to further change it down to 4,203 bytes. And I have absolutely no idea what this language does. I have absolutely no idea no idea. This is actually a very good question. How the hell did you golf this? And actually, that one has a really interesting discussion about like cryptography and reverse engineering hashes in that thing. This is. Has anybody got a guess as to what this program does? Even.
Directions?
Yeah, this looks a lot like directions, right? What the heck, basically? So, I have no idea what this does. So my guess is that these little guys are pretty clearly some kind of subway or L train in London. Or at least...
And that has...
Like, my reason for that is I'm looking at this. The Heathrow terminals, I believe, are in London.
Yeah.
The Piccadilly is a thing I know of, is a thing in London. Paddington sounds like it should be a thing in London, even if it isn't, right? Yeah, like Notting Hill. I don't know how you would get more English than Notting Hill.
Or Mornington Crescent.
Yeah, and the name of the programming language itself, Mornington Crescent. So my guess is that if you... what does this do? Oh, cool. So this is another... So this is another thing like Repel IT, right? Where you can have kind of funny languages. So if we run this, I'm hoping that's a run. Where'd it go? Output. Hello world. No idea why I did that. I don't understand what this language does at all. Why this language exists at all is a further valid question.
Interesting. The first one is Hendon Central, and then bank. Okay, so I feel like that's the start program. There's the thing about the bank.
Shut up, sorry.
Well, look at the bottom one. There's
The
like
bottom end of the banks, yeah.
yeah.
That one also gave a.
Oh, the
time.
bottoms went back to banks? Yeah, maybe.
And
I have
then
no
the
idea.
Turn the line all the way back to the bottom.
Maybe this is just meant to be like horribly frustrating just to like hack into.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is
What
about.
on earth
This is absolute.
You almost.
Evil is another one of these kind of like tape-based languages. So
Mostly vowels.
yeah, so this is like weird commands.
So it's like
Piet is an image that gets registered as a
oh, it's
Code,
like,
right.
it's,
So the
yeah,
the image itself is the code.
yeah, it's a picture encryption. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's basically hiding code written in hex, right, into an image. This thing is a weird one. I don't know. This one byte. This I think is probably similar to this Stux one, or Stuck. No idea about this language. It seems super weird.
I assume it has something to do with pipes.
Yeah. Let's see. Chef looks really strange.
That's hilarious.
Serves one.
Yeah, no idea. Weird. Some kind of Dark looks more or less like some kind of a obfuscation of a known language.
This language is so
White
metal.
space.
Yeah. So white space is one of these languages that only has spaces, tabs, and kind of return carriages or something. So if you're gonna demonstrate what a program looks like, you have to put in some characters because otherwise you can't see it. More Piet. Here's a Java. That should be.
So technically, white space is 0 bytes, or the spaces count.
No, spaces count.
Okay.
I counted my space in my program too.
Okay.
So this is a full Java program, right? And that needs a main method declaration, which we get away without in processing because it kind of already has that method in it. Bunch more of these things. I really wanted to see, what was the language I was looking for? Oh, there's a nice C program, right? Yeah, there's one that beat me. That's the one I was looking for. Unreadable. So Unreadable is a programming language that I think takes only apostrophes and double quotes.
No.
So you
Slightly more disappointed by more specific.
right, so that one's a single quote, and that one's a single quote, and that one's a double quote. Yeah, so usually the way you write these languages is you write them in something else and then turn them into this. So, yeah, why is a fair question. Sometimes it's actually advantageous to hide a little bit of code, right? For instance, if you're trying to track which user is doing something, there's a whole bunch of these things called zero width characters that you can stick in when you're displaying a website. So if you want to know which user is taking your information from your closed forum and dumping it onto Twitter, right, by taking like a screen cap or something, or just copy and pasting and dumping it into their Twitter feed, you could have the website embed with these zero width characters, their username coded out in binary, right? And then when they paste it onto other portions of the web, you could then select that stuff, parse through it for those zero width characters, and then read out their username in binary. And then you could ban them from your forum, right? You guys see that?
Can someone who's looking for the search for zero?
Sure, and if you thought about this, right, if you were the one doing this copy and pasting, you could certainly notice that, or take a screen capture instead, right, like a JPEG, and I'm going to show those zero width characters in it. But it's a shot, right? And the news story I got that from, it actually worked. Because it was as simple as a copy paste, and I didn't even know they existed before reading that news article, so probably most people don't know they exist either, right? So encoding something like this is a little bit weird, right? But you could certainly make an innocuous banner somewhere in your code that's coded out in something like unreadable or white space, and then you could take that and use it again. Okay, cool. So this is what I wanted to show you for code golfing. And there's, of course, a million different languages that are horrible to read that are fun for code golf. Hey, there's Pyth. You guys know what Pyth is?
I'm assuming it's like Python but shorter.
It is. It's like Python, but for code golf. So it's Python, but shorter. Basically, all the... oh, that's fun. TI Basic. Anybody know TI Basic? So TI Basic is the language you use to program a TI calculator.
Oh.
Right, it's a little bit like a shortened version of... yeah, it's kind of a shortened, hacky language, but it does actually do a nice job.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Python too.
Yeah, the Python is kind of shorthand because it only had the one quotation mark.
And it didn't need a print line. So the Pyth language got a little bit shorter basically because Pyth has those commands shortened specifically for the purposes of playing code golf, which is kind of itself a waste of time, right? But is a good way to get better at programming and is a really nice way to get better at reading other languages. Plus, it's entertaining. So if you want to burn some time, doing this is better than watching YouTube videos of cats.
Okay. I'm just gonna say, can I see the Java 8s?
Java 8?
Okay. I'm just wondering why they took. Oh, they chose Java 8 specifically because the later Javas you have to like declare as a class and stuff like that. Okay.
Are we on Java 8?
Let's see. So this part, at least, right, looks a lot like the processing command would. So what is all this other junk that wouldn't be needed in processing? You see all that crap?
Oh, so the interface is to replace the class. Okay.
Static void main.
So the static void main, right, is a method declaration, right? And the interface A is something about where methods need to live in Java 8. So it's just like, yo, dude, this is a program. Here's the method you're going to do. And then in that method, the only thing you do is do this print command. Right? I'm sure there's a processing answer someplace buried in here, but I didn't see it. And there's a jelly. That one's weird. You guys see that one? Gobbledygook. Python 3. That's mine. Good work. And then, yeah, obviously, whole bunches and bunches more. I really was hoping for the processing one.
Minecraft?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, command blocks.
Yep.
That's funny. I hadn't seen that. Oh, God. What is this horrible language? Weird. I have absolutely no idea what that's doing. Cool. Shakespeare's programming language?
I haven't seen one.
I don't remember this play.
Twice I a
Yeah.
cat.
No
I
idea.
noticed the square of a big cat.
Oh, so here's the whole script.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a nice piece of commenting, actually. You guys see how great this commenting is done? I'm really impressed with this coder. So this is setting the variable puck to 8. No idea why.
It says Ajax.
Set Ajax to I.
I, the square of I.
Okay, so the sum of I plus I squared, right? So I is self-referential, right? So that's Puck referencing himself, right? And so we're getting 8 plus 8 squared is 72, which is the ASCII for H.
It's super cool though.
Use
Ajax,
I.
So we're printing that out.
Ajax is talking to Puck and saying you is, and so it's declaring Puck.
Yeah.
As this thing. That's super cool. Annoying.
Okay, why is he spectacular? Is that they're pushing the stack and doing the rest of Hello World backwards.
What's that?
If you look, Ajax, they're saying to D, and then L, and then pushing that to the stack, and then doing LL. They're doing Hello World backwards, it seems.
Oh, yeah. So then they've got a stack here. Presumably because this stack was a little bit lighter than just doing this otherwise. So, do you guys remember where we saw stacks in processing? Where did we use stacks in processing?
I forget what it's called. First in, first out, that stuff.
Yep.
First and last.
First in, last out. That was.
FIFO and
Do you remember the push matrix, pop matrix?
Yeah.
Right? That was for translating the coordinate systems around or rotating your screen and that stuff. So all that stuff was done in a stack, right? And the way that worked was like a stack of plates out at the buffet, right? So you put a plate in, you push the one before it down a level, right? And then if you want the top one off, you pop it. So that's what they're doing in here, right? They're pushing and popping a stack a bunch of times. Alchemy? The hell? I was really hoping for, the only thing I'm fishing for here is processing, because I want to see the process.
controller.
Of course there is. I'm just too lazy to do it. No. Not on this page, at least, right? Okay, whatever.